Have you ever studied for hours, only to wake up the next morning feeling like your brain has wiped everything clean? Or had those days when you slept a full 8 hours, yet you still felt heavy, groggy, and strangely exhausted, while other days 5 hours somehow made you feel sharper? Here's the surprising part. Japanese students, the same ones who managed to memorize over 2,000 kanji in their lifetime, aren't necessarily smarter or more disciplined. They simply follow a rhythm, tiny daily habits that align with how the brain actually works. And once you understand those habits, your memory and focus can change dramatically. So why does your brain forget so quickly? And why can a full night's sleep still leave you drained? The answer isn't about intelligence or willpower, it's about rhythm. Your brain follows biological cycles that decide when you learn fast, when you store memories deeply, and when your energy collapses. Most of us fight against these cycles without knowing it. Studying at the wrong time, eating until we're uncomfortably full, staring at screens before bed, or cramming information our brain isn't ready to keep. Japanese students approach learning differently. Their habits synchronize with how memory, attention, and recovery truly work. They step outside into natural light each morning, because even 10 minutes of light movement has been shown to boost recall by nearly 20%. They review old material before learning something new, activating active recall instead of passive reading. They follow harahachi-bu, eating until 80% full to stay mentally sharp. And they sleep in cycles, not hours, waking up at the right stage so their mind feels refreshed instead of foggy. These aren't dramatic lifestyle overhauls. They're small adjustments rooted in science and culture. And when combined, they create a study system that feels almost effortless. Imagine a typical Japanese student starting their day. Before opening a textbook, before checking their phone, they step outside. The morning light hits their eyes, signaling their brain to reset its internal clock. Cortisol gently rises, not the stress hormone we fear, but the natural alertness hormone that peaks in the early hours. This small ritual tells the body, it's time to wake up. It's time to learn. And then comes the part many of us overlook. Movement. Not a workout. Not a run. Just 10 minutes of walking or slow stretching. Studies show that light movement increases blood flow to the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming memories. That's why those Japanese students who take a short walk before studying often remember more than someone who spent that same time rereading notes. 10 minutes, yet nearly 20% improvement in recall. It sounds unbelievable until you try it. After returning inside, they follow a quiet ritual, tidying their desk, brewing a small cup of tea, reviewing yesterday's material. They don't jump into new information immediately. Instead, they wake up their memory with active recall, pulling old knowledge to the surface so the brain is primed for new connections. These morning habits aren't big or dramatic, but together they create a rhythm: light, movement, recall. A rhythm that tells the brain, today will be a focused day. And if you're someone who often starts the morning feeling scattered or sluggish, adopting even one of these steps can anchor your entire day. Most people think studying longer equals learning more, but Japanese learners take almost the opposite approach. They study in cycles, not marathons. And those cycles are built on one principle. Your brain remembers what it retrieves, not what it rereads. This is why active recall sits at the center of their method. Before opening a book, they ask themselves, what do I remember from yesterday? Even if the answer is not much, the act of trying strengthens the neural pathways. It's like lifting a weight. Struggling is part of the growth. Reading something 3 times may feel productive, but your brain stays passive. Testing yourself once forces your memory to fire. Then comes spaced repetition. Instead of cramming, Japanese students review material on day 1, day 2, day 4, and day 7. Each revisit tells the brain, this is important, keep it. It's the same system that allows them to memorize over 2,000 kanji, not by overwhelming themselves, but by nudging their memory at the right moments. Layered onto this is the principle of Kaizen, improving just 1% each day. In practice, it means learning one extra word, reviewing one extra flashcard, writing one extra sentence. Small enough that you can't fail, yet powerful enough that after a year, the improvement becomes massive. To maintain focus, many follow a 40-10 rhythm, 40 minutes of deep work, 10 minutes of intentional rest. During the break, they don't doom scroll on their phones. They stretch, drink water, or simply breathe. This keeps the mind sharp instead of fried. And when they inevitably miss a study session, they follow the rule, never miss twice. Missing once is human. Missing twice becomes a pattern. When you combine active recall, spaced repetition, Kaizen, and structured rest, studying stops feeling chaotic. It becomes a system, a quiet, sustainable momentum that builds day after day. Here's a paradox that confuses almost everyone. Why do some people feel more alert after 5 hours of sleep than after 8? The answer lies in the brain's 90-minute sleep cycles. If you wake up in the middle of deep sleep or REM, your mind feels heavy, as if someone pressed a foggy reset button on your thoughts. But if you wake at the end of a cycle, even with fewer total hours, you can feel surprisingly refreshed. Japanese students understand this rhythm. They aim to wake at the right stage, not just the right hour. And their daytime habits support this rhythm too. Take harahachi-bu, the practice of eating until about 80% full. When you avoid overeating, your body doesn't waste energy fighting a food coma. Blood sugar stays steady. Your mind stays clearer. It's a small cultural habit with a huge cognitive payoff. Before bed, many students spend just 10 minutes reviewing what they learned that day, not studying deeply, simply reminding the brain. During sleep, especially deep sleep, the brain reorganizes memories, strengthening what it touched right before bedtime. That tiny review becomes a seed that grows overnight. Even their nighttime rituals are intentional: warm lighting, quiet spaces, putting the phone away earlier than most of us dare to. It's not about being strict. It's about signaling the brain, we're slowing down now. When your environment whispers calm, your mind follows. Recovery isn't a luxury for them. It's part of the learning system. And once you align your sleep, your eating patterns, and your nightly rituals with how memory is formed, you stop waking up tired. Your brain finally gets the chance to do its job. There's one more habit Japanese learners rely on, and it's not physical, it's psychological. They shift their identity. Instead of saying, I'm trying to study, they quietly adopt the mindset, I am someone who learns quickly. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but identity guides behavior. When you believe you are a fast learner, you naturally choose habits that match that belief. You show up, you stay consistent, you improve. This identity is reinforced by action, especially through teaching. Many students review by explaining what they learned to a friend, a sibling, or even to themselves out loud. Teaching forces the brain to organize ideas clearly, strengthening memory far more effectively than rereading a paragraph. It transforms learning from consumption into creation. They also practice micro-reflection, writing a single sentence before bed about what they learned that day. Just one sentence. It's a Kaizen moment, small, quiet, consistent. But over time it builds a narrative. I am someone who grows every day. And then there's the silence. Japanese learners respect the pauses between study sessions. They understand that the brain isn't idle during rest. It's restructuring, reinforcing, weaving new connections beneath the surface, like roots growing in the dark long before the plant emerges. When your identity shifts, habits follow. And when habits follow, learning stops being a struggle. It becomes who you are. So let's bring it all together. Japanese learners don't rely on talent or endless hours of grinding. They rely on rhythm, morning light to wake the brain, 10 minutes of movement to boost recall, active recall, and spaced repetition to lock in knowledge, Kaizen to improve just 1% a day, Hara-Hachi-Bu to stay mentally clear, and sleep cycles that refresh the mind instead of draining it. And behind all of these habits is a simple identity. I am someone who learns well. You don't need to change your entire life tomorrow. Start with one tiny shift. Take a 10-minute walk before you study. Review yesterday's notes before you open a new chapter. Eat until you're comfortably, not completely, full. Just try one habit tomorrow. That single step may be the beginning of your own fast learning rhythm.